It's the Unhappy Hour.
Broadcasting to you live from the Milky Way Galaxy, the Solar System, Planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, California, Los Angeles, to be specific. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Unhappy Hour here on the TNAM Radio Network here at thenewamericanmedia.com. My name's Brian Engelman. I'm going to be your host, as I have been for the 5 past years of existence on this spinning chunk of rock. 5 years, yeah, less than a month. Our unofficial birthday is May Day. May Day. Yeah, that's what the Cleveland Browns always say about halfway through the season. We're in distress, help! Cleveland Cavaliers not quite saying that. Trying to lock up first place in the Eastern Conference. Yeah, you got 2 super teams out west in the Spurs and the Warriors. So what? We got the king. And the Cleveland Indians have what some people are calling the best pitching staff in Major League Baseball. I've seen it different ways. The best pitching staff, the best starting 5. That can be parsed down into different categories. Maybe one team has better starting pitchers, and another team has a better bullpen, another team has a better overall staff. But the Cleveland Indians have, this team has been close. That's all you gotta be. You gotta be close. You gotta be better than close. You gotta be close around the midway point of the year, and you gotta go take it. We saw it with the 95 Indians, 96, 97, into the 2000s, even, what was that, 06? I mean, the Cleveland Indians can be a formidable team. The Cleveland Indians can be a formidable team. But can those bats keep it going? So we're going to talk, maybe take a little departure. Obviously, we could talk NCAA, but nah, not right now. What's to say? This is opening day for baseball. There are things that we need to be talking about. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and bring Justin Engelman back to the program. It's been a while since he's been on. And yes, that is my cousin. This guy eats, sleeps, breathes baseball. Actually, I gotta have him tell that story again. What happened to him when he was at a game.
Hello.
Justin, you're live on the air. How you doing today, sir?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are you?
Living the dream. Hey, do you keep an active social media profile for if anybody wants to stay in touch with you? I forget if you had a way that you put your ramblings out there to the world.
Yes, I am on Twitter. So it's Justin Engelman. It's first and last name on Twitter. And then I am also on Facebook.
Excellent. Hey, you've been on the program how many times now? It's funny. I'm asking you the questions about our show, but
at least half a dozen.
It's been a lot. You're one of our, I believe you're one of our first guests way back in the day. We're about 5 years old right now, if you can believe it. Go figure. But for the people that haven't listened to those half dozen programs, remind people. I just kind of let off saying, I got to have Justin remind us, tell us that story about what happened to him live at a baseball game that one time. And I think you understand what I mean by leaving it out there that vague.
Yeah, so it was 2008, and I was at a Cleveland Indians Texas Ranger game. It was in the 8th inning, and Jared Saltalamacchia was hitting for the Rangers, and his bat came flying into the stands. And I remember I was there, and the bat just kept coming. I remember saying in my mind, this thing is coming right at me. And I reached out and caught it, and was on Ohio.com, a big, nice shot of that. So, yeah, it was a pretty big moment.
I swear I saw you on ESPN, too. They showed it live during the game on top of it. Yeah, that's crazy. I went to how many games? Countless games. back at the old Municipal Stadium, then of course at Jacobs Field, and now whatever they're calling it these days. I still call it the Jake. I just can't get past it. But yeah, I mean, I never caught a foul ball. I never caught a home run ball. I never caught anything. You caught a bat. Love it. No, that is very cool. Make sure you're following him then on Twitter at Justin Engelman, Engelman. Okay, Justin, it's baseball time. I mean, can you actually believe that it's here?
You know what? I can't believe it's here, but honestly, I don't think it's been a while since I've been this excited for the start of a Major League Baseball season. Honestly, I'm really pumped up about tomorrow.
Really? So, when would you say the last time you were this excited might have been? Because how old are you? Like, let's date your earliest Tribe memories. Because we all have different days of growing up, and when we were playing Little League, who the players were on the team. Who was your main cast of character? When I say, give me off your dream team from the guys you remember.
Okay, so I'm 22 years old, about to turn 23 in April this month. So I remember the very first opening day that I actually watched. It was 2002. It was I remember Bartolo Colon pitched that opening day against the. I remember that for some reason I remember it was a Sunday night watching that opening. This was the opening game for all of baseball. But I think my dream team, of course, I was 97, 95. I was 2 and 4 years old for those teams. I was young, even in the late 90s. So I remember the year I really closely followed the Indians was 2001. And we had Juan Gonzalez. We brought Gonzalez, and we had Robbie Alomar at second base, which was a great team.
Oh, yeah.
We beat Seattle. The game's on YouTube, but we beat Seattle. I remember I think it was July or August, we were down 14-2, like in the sixth inning, came back and won. That was during that year. It was a special game. So I remember that season I remember following in closely that year, probably for the first time when I was 8 years old.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, I probably haven't been this excited since. Honestly, I mean, probably any fan would be probably since after the ALCS trip. I mean, I remember I was really excited in 2008. Following it really closely, following the off season. I really thought we were going to do something special. Quickly came out and won the Cy Young that year, but Sabathia got traded mid-season, so it was kind of a disappointing year. But I remember being really excited then. So, I mean, I honestly haven't been this excited since then, because I really think we could do something this year.
Well, let's talk about the team this year. Let's just jump right into it. I know we have you for a little bit, and thanks for joining us, by the way. I mean, where do you start here? I kind of said in the preview, I kept the intro to this program very quick, and I just kind of skimmed over the fact that some people are saying we might have the best pitching staff in the league, or some people might be saying we have the best starting pitchers in the league. I guess maybe we should start with pitching, right? Because that's going to be the strength of this team.
Brian, it's definitely the strength of this team. I think it was interesting how Francona kind of for the end of the pitching rotation, how he kind of kicked out Bauer, he put in Tomlin and Cody Anderson in there at the end of the rotation. I thought that was kind of interesting. So it's kind of interesting, but then kind of like, okay, Bauer didn't have a bad spring training, so for him to be pushed out of the rotation, Francona must have really seen something out of Cody Anderson, to put him in that fifth spot. I think Tomlin would have had the fourth spot, but putting Anderson there in the fifth, so I think that's kind of interesting, but in the same sense, kind of exciting to see, what we might see from there. And then it might help Bauer, get more consistent in his appearances. So I honestly, I think that's interesting. But this could be a really special year. I saw an article on ESPN how they predicted the Cy Young to come out of our rotation. And it could be from 1, 2, or 3 guys, one of 3. So
Yeah, Salazar
That
has
was
good
pretty cool.
stuff, and he's really young. If he can get the consistency and the work ethic, that Corey Kluber, let's face it, he's there teaching these guys. Here's how you get better. Here's how you do everything consistent. Here's how you conduct yourself as a professional. I mean, Corey Kluber's got it, and we'll get to Kluber in a second. But I mean, really, Justin, how long does it really take before you get to see your sixth or your seventh starter in the major leagues these days? You're going to see these guys play. It's not like they're getting demoted and then they're going to, end up with San Diego in a month. These people are going to be pitching at some point this year. Somebody's going to take some time off.
Definitely, definitely. And, for someone to be, I don't think it's necessarily a demotion to get demoted to the bullpen when Francona's running the bullpen, because he uses his bullpen so much. I mean, he'll throw a guy out there for like one at bat. He'll bring a guy out for just one at bat, and then go to a left-hander or go to the righty. So that was going to see a lot of appearances out of the bullpen, and it's just to be quite honest, if he produces, if he's looking good, he's going to get back in the rotation. So that's what's scary, that this rotation is 6 deep. Let's say one of these guys gets hurt, that's one of the strengths that coaches, long for, is to have that depth in the rotation, And then let's say we're a guy out of the bullpen to give us 5 or 6 innings, equal innings up. Boom, he's got Bauer, he's got Tommy Hunter, who used to be a starter. So it's not. I don't think it's a demotion. So to answer your question, definitely they're going to see pitching time, PT playing time. They're going to get those innings. So it just, I think it plays into Francona's favor that he has these options to go to.
Well, let's
get some innings out of the bullpen.
Well, let's do that. Let's start it. We'll go fifth, fourth, third. I mean, I guess you'd probably say fourth and fifth pitcher, and then there's a jump between the Salazar Carrasco crew and then the cream of the crop with Kluber. Would you say that? It's Kluber standing above everybody, Carrasco, Salazar with endless potential. Can they string it together for a full season? And then a drop off with Cody Anderson and Josh Tomlin. Is it fair to say that, or are they more even than I even understand?
Yeah, there's a drop off there, but honestly, Tomlin pitched phenomenal the second half. He was hurt all of 2015 came last year in the second half, but he pitched great. And so, honestly, if we get some of that from last year, I mean, I don't see a huge drop off there.
Well, then tell me about Tomlin, Anderson. Let's start with them. What are we getting in Tomlin and Anderson? Like, kind of break down who these guys are, and I'm going to say the same thing for Salazar, Carrasco, and then the cream of the crop with Kluber.
Right. So Josh Tomlin, I remember he had a huge streak of consistency. Like, he would go in and give the innings at least 5 innings. Like, yeah, a long streak of innings pitched where he would go in a game and at least give 5 innings. So Tomlin last year went 7-2 with an ERA just over 3. So I mean, he pitched very well. He started 10 games. 7-2 is pretty good for coming in for those last 10 starts.
Yeah.
So
double that for Justin. Double that for a season. That's 14-4. That's a good record. Definitely.
And he's consistent. He's not going to overwhelm you with with strikeouts or anything like that. But he's great with ground balls. He relies on a double play. I mean, we have our defense, Brian, has been improved very greatly.
Well, how could it not have improved greatly? It used to be so terrible.
That's true.
It was the big Achilles heel on this team.
Right. It couldn't have been much worse, but it seriously did improve drastically. So that, Lindor is so much better defensively than Asdrubal Cabrera and Jose Ramirez. They bring in Juan Uribe, who that's his strength is his glove at third base, so that's going to help a lot. And then Napoli, he's he's a very good first base defensively at first base. So, so that to get back to Tomlin, I think his consistency is what he's known for, and so the fact that he doesn't have like a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, he's not for him not to have that element. He's been fighting injuries, so for him that not to be one of his strengths is his arm. As far as throwing a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, it's not going to be. He doesn't need that. He doesn't need that to win 14 games. So the fact that he gets a lot of ground balls, the fact that he's consistent in the innings he gives you, it makes him super valuable. But as long as he stays healthy, I mean, honestly, like I said, you're not expecting 16, 17 wins out of him. But at the end of your rotation, you get 14, double-digit wins. I mean, that's huge. So,
yeah, the Indians have been, throughout the past 20 years, let's just say, since go back to 1995, the Indians have found some bargain basement fifth pitcher in your rotation, solid, steady guys. Just an endless rotating door of guys that have, if not career seasons, super consistent and somebody you can always get a win when they take the mound. The Indians have been really good at that. They've definitely had some diamonds over the past 20 years, and they've been different names, different years. But yeah, I mean, to just kick. Do you remember any of the specific the best fifth pitchers in the rotations off the top of your head?
Come to my mind, I remember Paul Bird back in 07.
Paul Bird was great.
Yeah, he was a great pitcher. I mean, he was a lot like Tomlin. He was very consistent. He gave you 5 innings. He gave you those 5 innings of 1-run, 2-run ball, and kept the team in the game. And I remember in 07 when we were in the ALCS, it was him and Westbrook who got us the wins. Him and Westbrook and the bullpen. It was those. It wasn't even Sabathia and Carmona, Foster Carmona, that gave us pitch good. It was Westbrook and Paul Bird that delivered for us. So yeah, I mean, he comes to mind. I think back in '97 we had OJ, right? Chad OJ.
Oh, Chad OJ, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we've had some good names.
I'm gonna have to do that. I'm gonna have to do a search for how would I search that? Fifth best Indians. I don't even know how to do the search, or else I'd probably do the search. But anyway, no, and I'll rattle the names off as soon as I hang up this call. But I'm just trying to talk about this team. Talk about Cody Anderson for a second at the 4th spot.
Okay, well, Cody Anderson, he had a pretty good year. He was 7-3 last year. I mean, he came in that one game. I remember we had like 3 consecutive starts where we had a no-hitter going to like the 6th inning. So I remember his first start, he came up and played Tampa Bay, and he had like a no-hitter going to the 7th inning. So, I mean, he looked good last year, honestly. So, I'll go back to what I said earlier, how I think it's interesting Francona's putting him in the rotation when Bauer had a good spring. So, Bauer really didn't do anything this spring to jeopardize his spot in the rotation. So for, Francona to go out on the limb and put Anderson in, I think that speaks volumes. So, I mean, he's young. He's only 25. So, I mean, I liked what I saw from him last year, honestly. So, he could surprise us this year and give us, keep his spot there in the rotation. So.
Oh, I got another one. Dave Burba.
There you go.
That was another one off the top of my head. Yeah. Now I just want to go back and remember, I'm going to have to search every single season. Whatever happened to Fausto Carmona, by the way?
Carmona fell off the deep end. I mean, I remember he was faking his age, right?
Of course, yeah.
So he faked his age. And
just like half the girls you'll meet. Just like half the girls you'll meet in Southern California, Justin.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. So he faked his age, and his real name is Roberto Hernandez.
Yeah.
So his name wasn't even Fausto Carmona, but I mean, he was good. He was good there for a couple of years but then we traded him. We traded him away, I think, to Boston, if I remember correctly. But so yeah, that's what happened. He gave us 2 good years and just kind of fell off the radar.
Well, let's talk about the new kid, Danny Salazar. He's not a new kid anymore, but he's still a very talented player that if he does well, it's going to go very far to making our team do well.
The key for Danny Salazar is, I think, to stay healthy. If he can stay healthy, I think the sky's the limit for this kid. I mean, honestly, he can go long in the game. We know how fast he can pitch, and he gets it up he can get up to 100. So, he throws the batters off balance, keeps them off balance. He has a lot of pitches to work with, so he doesn't rely just on the fastball. So, honestly, I think if he can stay healthy and, I think we could get 15 wins out of him this year. And I think, with Kluber helping him there and Carrasco, I think the third spot is great for him. He doesn't have a lot of pressure. I think that's just a great spot for him. And a lot of people are saying he could be a number 1 starter in most big league teams. So, but I think that third spot's good for him. I think if he gets off to a good start, that's huge for him. But he's gonna have a good offense, a better offense this year than he had last year. High, but honestly, I think the sky's the limit for him, and I'm excited to see what he brings to the table this year.
Absolutely. All right, let's get to Carlos Carrasco.
Yeah, so Carrasco, honestly, he could help Bauer out a lot because remember a couple of years ago, Carrasco went to the bullpen because he was struggling, early. So Frank Hunt was in the bullpen, and then he was lights out. He was lights out, so they brought him back in the rotation. And it's like he never skipped a beat since. So honestly, I like Carrasco better than Salazar. Just the fact that he has a lot of more pitches to go with. I don't know. I like what he does. He had 14 wins last year. I mean, Brian, we had in the top 8 of strikeout pitchers was the top 8 in strikeouts in baseball. We had 4 of the 8. So
Explain that. Run that down. Explain that. Like rank the top 5 or the top 8, or as close as you can.
Yeah. So Kluber was up there. He was number 1 for a long time, but then he got passed up, I think, by Hernandez. So it was Kluber, Carrasco, Salazar, and then Bauer in that order for strikeouts. But they were in the top 8 and it was all baseball. So that was pretty impressive to me. So making hitters miss on a consistent basis. So I think what also that goes out to help is the bullpen. You know what I mean? That I think that takes pressure off the bullpen. The bullpen's not pitching most of the game.
Oh yeah,
like we've seen in the past. So
you can't burn them out. You cannot burn them out. It's a lot like switch sports, but it's if your defense is on the field the entire game, by the third quarter you're exhausted. And
right.
They're just going to overpower you because it's getting easier and easier and getting worn down, and that helps the offense. You got to have a balance, and if your starting pitchers are just hanging your bullpen out to dry every night, and they got to jump in the 4th inning, the 5th inning, the 6th inning, it makes for a long season. That you're not going to have a successful season when you're dipping into the bullpen that much. But how would you describe Terry Francona's style with using his starters and his bullpen, if you could narrow it down to something?
Yeah, so Francona's a genius when it comes to his bullpen. So he'll pick out guys that you may never even heard of, but he likes them for this certain matchup, with lefty righty situation. And, he'll go in and he'll put a guy out there he'll put Manship in there for one at bat, or then bring in Shaw when to finish the inning, or Or he'll go. I've been in a game where he's gone to like three or four different pitchers in the same inning. And it's not like they were getting hammered. Literally, they'd come out, get an out, and then he goes to the next guy. It makes the fans mad, but he's doing his thing, and that's how he works. So, he always does good with his bullpen. Always, every year, he's had a solid bullpen, one of the best in the big leagues. So, so I think that's something you never have to worry about with Francona. He's always going to have that bullpen that he likes, and he'll call up a guy that he sees in Columbus, and put him in if he likes, if he needs him or likes what he sees. So you never have to worry about his bullpen, which honestly that's the Achilles heel for a lot of teams. For Detroit, for as long as I can remember, the past 5 or 6 years, they've always had a horrible bullpen, and it killed them. So I never have to worry about that, when it comes to Francona. And so that's always a plus, I think. And if they scratch each other's back. The starters, scratch the bullpen's back by eating up a lot of the innings. They come out for 3 innings, and then the starters know that they can rely on their bullpen to keep the game. So I think we're going to see a lot of great things from our pitching staff in general this year.
I'm
excited about it.
Talk about the leader. I think we have you for about 20 more minutes. Am I close to correct on that, Justin?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go to the ace. What do you think about Cliff Lee? Talk about his season last year compared to his Cy Young season, what you've learned about him over the years, what he brings to the table, how he can teach the young kids. Just lay it all out there, because you could probably make a strong case to say he's the best player on our team, perhaps, until Lindor grows into who he is.
Right. So Kluber is what's awesome about Kluber is he does everything right. I think we've all heard all of the bragging from the coaching staff, from Francona to Callaway. He's a leader. He sets the example of doing the right things. So honestly, that's so valuable, I think, to a coach, is where he's doing the right things. He's training the pitchers. Honestly, you think of any athlete in today's age, they're idiots. A lot of them they're idiots, and they separate themselves from the other guys. For Kluber, he's setting the example. He's doing everything right. But what I love about Kluber is it's almost like Tomlin. He's super consistent, right? So he gives you those 6-7 innings. And he had a bad record last year because of offense, a lousy offense. I remember one game we were up. We were down 1-0, and he pitched the complete game, but we tied up in the 9th, but lost an extra inning, so he didn't even get a win. We almost gave him a loss, and he pitched. Maybe it was 0-0. It was either 1-0 or 0-0, and he didn't even get a decision when he pitched a phenomenal game. So that's so aggravating when you see that. So he just didn't get any run support, but he had a ton of strikeouts. There's a couple stat lines where he had a better. He was better than he was last year when he won the Cy Young. So you're going to get consistency out of Kluber. He has a lot of pitches to work with. He just has dominating stuff. And a lot of people think it just came out of nowhere, right? Like a couple of years ago, he wins the Cy Young, and he's like, who's Corey Kluber? But if you followed Kluber in the minors, he always had a lot of strikeouts. Like he led each year he was in the minor leagues, he led the league in strikeouts. So he's one of those pitchers. It might not be as sexy as Roger Clemens in his prime, or you can name a few top-notch pitchers, Randy Johnson. Go back through the days of just I don't know, what do you say? Yeah, Randy Johnson,
Schilling. Where it's like, I just want to go see this person do his work. I have sat down and watched entire Indians games with Corey Kluber, and just jaw open, cannot believe what I'm watching. What was that game? Was it against the Twins? Was that last year, a couple years ago, where he had, 17, 18 strikeouts? I don't have the
Yeah, it was last year.
yeah, I don't have the stats on me in front of me, or I don't remember exactly what game. See, and that's what's so interesting to me. People like you, Justin. You remember the year. You remember exactly what's going on. For me, a lot of these seasons blur together. And oh yeah, remember that other year that we didn't win the championship? Oh yeah, that one. Wait, wasn't that like the other one? Yeah, but they had that same player playing left field. Oh, they did. Yeah, but then the other guy who screwed. Okay, and it just from '94, Baerga, Bell, Lofton, Tomey, Ramirez. It kind of works its way through, and you know the Juan Gonzalez, the Matt Williams. You know a lot of these teams, the Fausto Carmona, the CC Sabathia, the Cliff Lee, the Grady Sizemore, the up to Francisco Lindor and Cliff Lee, Corey Kluber rather. A lot of these seasons blur together for me. They just really do. It's 162 games, and I don't know. I don't know if it's because I don't really know exactly why. I don't have photographic memory with all the years and everything, but I will say this. Had Jose Mesa and Charles Nagy been able to close it out, Cleveland Indians would have had a championship back in 1997. I don't want to relive it. However, let's face it, the bullpen and the closing pitcher make a big difference. Talk about the bullpen, Justin. Brian Shaw, Zach McAllister, Joba Chamberlain, Trevor Bauer. Just roll through them real quick.
Yeah, so like that, Tommy Hunter, Joba Chamberlain. I think Francona has the bullpen he likes, and Cody Allen as a closer, he's been consistent last couple years. Honestly, I think the most reliever we've had in the bullpen is Brian Shaw. I mean, he's been great. Francona loves him. So, I kind of said earlier, but this is Francona's strength. So, I think he is very confident in his bullpen. So, I don't think that's going to be a problem at all. And if you look back, a couple of years we were close there to making the playoffs, and our bullpen was terrible.
Yeah.
So fortunately, that's not going to be a problem this year. I don't think so. And it's not like we got rid of any big names that were key contributors last year. So we got most of the guys coming back that were that were there for us that produced. So I think that's going to be one of our strengths this year. And most people think our starting pitching is a strength. But I think this is definitely a fact that we have the most different amount of pitchers out of our bullpen that pitched for one team in one season. So that just shows you how much Francona goes to his bullpen and uses different guys, for like one at bat. So, he knows what he's doing. I kind of compare it to like playing a chess game. He's got so many pieces he likes to use. So, I think we're set there. I don't have any worries.
I like how you said, kind of that he brings people up from the minor leagues, and what a great way to do it. Why not get 2 or 5 or 10 people in the minor league pitching system used to coming up and playing in the big leagues a couple games a year? If injuries necessitate it or if poor play demands it, whatever the case may be, to just keep bouncing and keep that train moving, so you're really preparing these guys for that next level. And you give them an opportunity to work their way back into the rotation and earn another chance. I think that's only smart. You have that as an option. Why not use it? And earlier you talked about obviously the strengths, which would be our pitching, and you said how much more improved our defense is going to be for all the pitchers out there that had suffered behind not so great defensive efforts from the Indians over the past few years, especially. I guess start right up the middle. I mean, is Francisco Lindor? What's going to happen? What kind of year should we expect out of this kid? Is he going to live up to the expectations, or is there a chance that the bright lights could take him down?
I think it was huge for Lindor bringing him up last year. I think we could have done that a little sooner. But getting him under the experience, getting him, a lot of playing time, getting him in certain circumstances. I think the fact that a lot of guys have sophomore slumps. So the fact that he really didn't play a full season, it was like less than a half a season played, under 100 games. So the fact that was the case, he kind of doesn't have a full season under his belt, but yet in the same area, same sense, he has a lot of experience. He has a lot of big league experience. So he's a smart kid. He's so bright. You could just tell when hearing him talk to the media. He says all the right things. So I think honestly, we're going to be really surprised at what we see out of Lindor. And if you look at it, when he was called up last year, and it was just like a 180. I mean, we won a lot more games. We were winning series. Our defense got better.
The entire team got better when he came up,
Yeah.
But wasn't the deal with Lindor? Wasn't the deal that they kept him in the minors a lot like they did with the Cubs to keep him under contract even longer? So if he didn't play a certain percentage of games, then he wouldn't be a free agent sooner. And when these guys are getting $200 million contracts, you need to lock your good players in as long as you can, as affordably as you can, or else you're never going to... Wasn't that a big deal with Lindor last year?
Honestly, I don't know. I didn't really hear much about that. So
yeah, because I saw a couple teams, especially with the Cubs, they did it as well, and you even heard grumblings across Major League Baseball from the agents and the managers, the people who are getting their cut of the deals, kind of saying, "Hey, you guys are really screwing them over," and the front office, the bean counter types, the money ball guys, were just saying, "Hey, there's a system. We're working the system. There's a system." It is what it is. But yeah, I mean, what kind of are we gonna get? Omar Vizquel? Are we gonna get like what kind of player is Lindor?
One of the things that sticks out with me with Lindor is his batting average. So last year he finished the season batting .313, but if you remember, for most of, it wasn't up to the last few weeks in baseball, his average is like .320, .330. So he's not a fluke, right? He's not one of those one-year wonders where he gives us a great rookie year and we don't see him for he plays like one more year and then he falls off the radar.
You mean like one of those guys that bats like .284, but they knock in 43 home runs, then they strike out all those home runs next year, and it's like, okay, now you're batting .240. And, you hit us 11 home runs, Nick Swisher, or something like that.
Yeah, I remember in it was 07, we brought up a guy. We traded for a guy from San Diego, and he's like second in Rookie of the Year. He had 14 home runs. And I remember he came over and he was like nothing. Like he was terrible. And then we called up Asdrubal Cabrera. So, I don't think we have to worry about that with Lindor. This guy was a highly touted prospect. So,
and I like those high average players with the Carlos Baerga. He, so many consistent years where it was like hitting .320, hitting .340, hitting .315, hitting .3. It was just, the consistency from those types of players. You need that. When you're always on base, good things are going to happen. We only have about 7 minutes or so we need to move fast. By the way, I just wanted to say some other pitchers in the vein of the fourth or fifth pitcher on the Cleveland Indians that we were able to get a lot out of, whether it's Dave Burba, Paul Bird, Terry Mulholland. Do you remember Terry Mulholland? We got a lot out of him. And Kevin Millwood. Yeah. So, yeah, just a few of the other names I was able to pull up off the top of my head. But anyhow, in the remaining time we have left, let's just buzz through the positions. What about Juan Uribe?
Okay, so Juan Uribe is pushing 40, right? So we're not going to get a lot of run production from Uribe. But we're bringing him over for the glove. Third base was one of our weak. biggest weaknesses on defense. So, and honestly, we weren't getting any run production from third base. It was Chisenhall to Urshela, who had a better glove. He looked promising, but he was batting like 220. So I think bringing the veteran, bringing in a Gold Glove there at third base, a Gold Glove caliber at third base, that's why he's there for. And he has a little power. I mean, I think he had like 14 home runs last year. So I mean, that's not too bad. So I think we have him there for the glove. I think he might help Urshela if he gets called up later in the season. But he's there for the glove. So I think that's going to help the team out more than necessarily a 20 home run guy.
What about Jason Kipnis?
We can't afford it.
Right. Well, I mean, you got Jose Ramirez. He's that utility player. He's that Alvaro Espinoza type player. He's listed as the backup at third base, at shortstop, at second base. All right, either go to Kipnis or go to Ramirez.
Let's go to Kipnis.
Yeah,
I'm not a huge fan of Ramirez.
Let's get to Kipnis. Well, he's a backup everywhere for a reason. On to Kipnis.
So Kipnis, I think the two guys that I don't want to get ahead of myself here, but Kipnis, so much relies on Kipnis. So he's like the missing link, right? He's that missing piece that if we had a consistent Kipnis, I think it just makes our team so much better. And in the lineup, wherever if we can get him on base, he can steal 30 bases in the season. We can keep him healthy. So I think if Kipnis, produces, if he stays healthy, he's an all-star caliber player. He's just huge for our team. And so I think this could be the year where, he does something special. Whether it's starting second base for the all-star team, AL. But honestly, he's probably one of my favorite players on the team.
But he's got to stay healthy. He's a lot like.
Got to stay healthy.
We've seen it over every sport, every team we've ever loved. You have players that are great, but can they stay healthy? Let's move on to Carlos Santana and Mike Napoli. Kind of doing DH and first base over there.
So Santana, Carlos, talking about Santana, I think he is the key factor for this team. But I think what's going to help Santana the most is Mike Napoli. Because if you think about the last couple of years, Brian, Carlos Santana, the whole offense has been on his shoulders. The whole way of the offense has been on his shoulders. He's been hitting cleanup. And honestly, I don't think he can handle that.
No.
So, I mean, we look at Santana and we're like, man, we expect so much from him. Our expectations are so high for him that, he's supposed to do this. He's supposed to hit 30 home runs, 100 RBIs. And I think he can produce that, but he can't. It's like he can't do it with all that pressure on him.
Well, but on top of that, you can't do it on your own. You got to have protection at the number 5 slot, the number 6. That was the thing when you had, Kenny Lofton leading off, and then Baerga, and then Tomey, or Ramirez, or Bell, or Juan Gonzalez. Like you go through this list, Roberto Alomar. You would get down to 7 or 8, the Paul Sorrentos, and you could not pitch around a single player on those teams. Everybody, right, top to bottom, could give you 30-plus home runs and 100-plus RBIs pretty easily. And it was just an astonishing time to be alive. Obviously, the steroids and the corked bats and all that stuff later, which, by the way, since that stuff is mostly gone, you would kind of say that the edge will go to the teams that have great pitching, and that bodes well for the Indians. But yeah, Carlos Santana's only as good as the 2 people hitting in front of him and the 2 people hitting behind him. And it needs to be consistent, right? Well,
my dad mentioned a pretty interesting fact. He's one of those baseball gurus, so you can read one of those, encyclopedias or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
With stats. But he's like, he brought up an interesting fact. He said, Justin, he's like, if you look back in 2007 when we were in the ALCS, he said up and down the lineup, you had guys that all of them had like 14, 15, 16 home runs. Like, we had 2 in our whole lineup last year.
Ugh.
So, you had Hafner, you had everyone,
Hafner.
Johnny Peralta, you had Sizemore. You have like multiple guys. Ryan Garco had like 25 home runs. All these, Hafner had like 40 home runs. We don't have one guy that hit over 25 last year, and it was Santana. So I think the biggest guy that's going to help Santana, I think the unsung hero is Mike Napoli. I think he's going to help Santana so much. I mean, a few years ago, Napoli had 30 home runs with Texas. Now he might not be that same guy, but he has a lot of power, and I think he's going to help Santana a lot. And I think just bringing him in the lineup, we thought we had that with Brandon Moss last year, but he was a fluke, or he was just a huge disappointment. So I think Napoli, he's a consistent power hitter. He'll get on base, and he just takes the load off of Santana's shoulders. So I think if he could come in and hit 25, 30 home runs, who knows what we might be able to see out of Santana. And I think this is do or die for Santana. Honestly, I think if he has another lousy year, he's gone. So, it's sad because when he was brought up, it's like, man, this guy's going to be huge. He's going to be the next Victor Martinez, but better, right?
Yeah.
And so we haven't seen it.
Man, could we have used Victor Martinez the past few years, right?
Oh yeah, he was great. He was good.
What a shame that didn't work out. All right, in the remaining time you have left, you know your schedule better than me. We got the outfielders to roll through and the catcher.
Okay, so Brantley's on the DL coming in, which honestly I think he's going to be back sooner than what we thought. I think he'll be back in the middle of April versus May, what we originally had thought, originally we were told. So Brantley's a stud, man. I think you're not going to get a lot of home runs out of Brantley, but he hit a lot of doubles. He's always on base, and so I think this could be a breakout year for Brantley. He kind of reminds me. Lindor kind of reminds me of him at the plate. They're so smooth. We call him Mr. Smooth, Dr. Smooth, or whatever his nickname is. He's just so smooth at the plate, and you could tell a lot of a player by just how he hits. Like Victor Martinez was like that. I remember Chu was like that. Right? They just looked so good at the plate.
Manny Ramirez was a master of working 14, 18, 20 pitch counts. He would just with ease, he would put his bat out there and go, yeah, I just fouled that. You got to throw it again. Yeah, I just fouled that. You got to throw it again. Yep, fouled it again. Actually, let's just make this quick. Give me a meatball right here, and I'm going to put it into the boink right field bleachers. Yeah, he would just wear people down. He was such a cerebral batter. It was fluid. It was very comfortable. It was smooth, as you say.
Yeah, so Brantley's a stud. So since we get him back, that's better. We have a couple of additions with Rajay Davis, so I really like that. So I really like that addition. He brings a lot of speed to the table. He hits about 280, so he'll get on base. So I like that addition. They brought in Marlon Berg, who's like almost 40, but he hit like 27 home runs last year, or 23 home runs last year, so 73 RBIs. So, if we get close to that, we're not expecting anything from him. So, if he brings us 15 home runs, 70 RBIs, I think that would be huge. So, who knows what we get out of him, how long he stays. But Brian Cowgill, honestly, I don't know what we're going to get out of him. He's kind of a utility guy for the Angels. So, but honestly, Tyler Aquin looks phenomenal.
Explain that, because you mentioned that before we did the show and show prep. You were going on and on about him. So tell everybody real quick why they need to pay attention to this kid.
So he reminds me of Grady Sizemore a little bit, but honestly, at the plate, I hate to go back to comparisons to Brantley, but he kind of has that smooth swing there from on the left hand side. I watched him closely in spring training. He had like 4 home runs. He batted 500 he's batted 500 for a while, and around 400. So he impressed Francona a lot because Francona brought him up to put him on the opening day roster. So He was our first-round draft pick in 2012. So, it's not like he came out of nowhere. So, I mean, he was our number one draft pick. He's 25 years old. So, 24 years old. So I think we're going to see a lot from this kid this year. I mean, I picked him up on my fantasy team. I'm that confident in what he's going to do. So
nice.
He has a good glove in center field. He has some really nice catches out there. So honestly, I think this guy is the real stuff. So with him and Brantley out there, Chisenhall looked good in right field. He's going to be on the DL for a little bit. So honestly, I think Naquin, he quite honestly could be a candidate for rookie of the year. So I think he looks really good, and you got to look at his hitting, his technique. It just looks so good. So I mean, I honestly think we're going to see big things from him this year, and who knows for a long time. Wouldn't that be great to have a Grady Sizemore out there that gives us 10, 15 years?
How about this? How about we get all of our best players to coalesce at the same time during the same year, and they all have career seasons at the same time, and we get that championship? How about it all comes together in 1 year, everything is magical, and it just happens? Is that okay? Does something like that work for you?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
All
We
right,
gotta do it. We gotta do it the next couple of
I'm
years.
I'm in on that. You mentioned your fantasy baseball team. Did I mention to you that I won our fantasy football conference?
You know what? You didn't. No. You didn't tell me that.
Yeah, we did a double league for the Unhappy Hour. The Unhappy Hour sports show did a double fantasy football league. I've never heard of such a thing, by the way.
I didn't get an invite, Brian.
Well, okay.
Was on an invite?
All right. Well, how about you can be you'll be the person who replaces the one person who didn't pay their dues this season. Actually, there were two, but it was weird. We did we had 20 or 24 teams in two different divisions, and then we met together and we created a different algorithm and a different website where we played each other head to head for the championship. It was interesting. But yeah, cool. I won that. I got a trophy up there. Are you usually pretty good at fantasy baseball?
Yeah, I usually at least in the last round there in the playoffs every year. So
nice.
I take a lot of pride in it.
Hey, did we mention Jan Gomes? Did we even get to him? Did we skip over the catcher?
On Gomes. He's gonna be huge this year, Brian.
Tell me.
Huge.
Tell me.
I think he's gonna be an all-star. He's gonna be an all-star.
Really?
He's gonna make an all-star team. I mean, year before last, he won the Silver Slugger Award. He had 20 home runs, batted 280. So he's going to be huge for this offense. I think him and Napoli are the key factors on in this lineup. He's going to be huge.
I've always liked his game. Who would you say the addition by subtraction award goes to?
Definitely Napoli.
No. Not addition by adding. I mean addition by subtracting. Who are you happy from last year is not a part of this team this year? Maybe that's a weird question or a weird way to phrase it, but sometimes it's personality. Sometimes it's just, for whatever case, they don't re-sign or they get traded. Well, like Johnny Manziel. That's addition by subtraction. The Cleveland Browns will be better this year because they're without Johnny freaking football. He's off the team and it makes them better. Are there any players on the Tribe that are not here from last year and you think, wow, thank God Nick Swisher's not here? Something like that?
I think I'll go with third base. We didn't really get rid of anybody per se, but I think the move – I cannot stand Chisenhall at third base. He just couldn't produce at the plate.
No.
And it was like when he moved to right field, it was like a light bulb went off in his head.
Yeah, when Chisenhall's hot, he is hot.
Yeah, and it's like he did it. He had that one July where he batted like 500, and that's all we've seen from him.
Yeah, he had like 17 RBIs in one game or something insane.
Yeah. I remember that. It was in Texas actually, but I think him getting out of third base, change the scenery a little bit. Honestly, Bourne, I wasn't a big fan of Bourne. he's gone.
Yeah.
Swisher, you kind of like Swisher just because of his personality, but he really didn't do much. So
You ever see that? You ever see that Mike Polk video where he's rooming with Nick Swisher in spring training? Do you know who Mike Polk Jr. is?
No.
Oh, okay. I'll let you go because I know you got to run. Thanks for your time, by the way. If you have anything to jot a note down, write down Mike Polk, Polk Jr. Mike Polk Jr. and look up Mike Polk Jr. and Nick Swisher. They're roommates in spring training. It is hilarious. He's the Cleveland comedian that coined the term for the Cleveland Browns, Factory of Sadness. I'm sure you've seen that or heard that over the past 5 years. It's got hundreds of thousands of views on YouTube. He's an absolutely hilarious comedian. But yeah, you'd like that with the Nick Swisher. I liked his attitude. Like, watch this clip to see his what it might be like to be a bunkmate with Nick Swisher. It was so good. But yeah, spring is here. It's April, and the Cleveland Indians are back to playing baseball. I'm very excited. In the last minute that we have here, Justin. By the way, on Twitter at Justin Engelman. By the way, make sure you follow him there and on Facebook. You following the Cavs pretty close? Anything about the Buckeyes or the Browns right now? Do you follow any of these? Because you've had a life where you lived in Columbus and then Texas or Florida and then Texas and then kind of bouncing around. You follow any of the other teams?
Yeah. Following the Cavs pretty closely. I don't know what's the big fan of the coaching change, but I think they'll bring it together in the playoffs and then make a big run. Obviously I think it's gonna be a rematch between Golden State and Cleveland. We might see San Antonio in there, but I think it's gonna be a rematch. So it's gonna be interesting. I think if they stay healthy, Cleveland, if there's no lose, honestly. So
I'm very much looking forward to it.
Do you agree?
Yeah, well,
do you agree with that?
I do. I do. It is past time for this all to come together for a Cleveland sports team, and why? With the storyline and LeBron's history, he went to Miami. They didn't get it done their first year, and guess what? They figured it out year two. People can say, "Oh, LeBron's getting old, this, that, and the other," and Steph is the future. Okay, you can say whatever you want. Give LeBron a healthy Kevin Love and a healthy Kyrie Irving, and let's see what he can do in those playoffs. We saw what he did with Timofey Mozgov, Tristan Thompson, and Matthew Dellavedova last year. What about a healthy Amon Shumpert, a healthy J.R. Smith, a healthy Kyrie Irving, a healthy Kevin Love? And you can add Mo Williams as your third guard coming off the bench behind Dellavedova and Kyrie Irving. I think the Cleveland Cavaliers have as good of a chance as they may have ever had in the history of their franchise. This might be the best chance they've ever had with their supporting cast. And let's face it, LeBron is at his peak right now. He's the type of player that can play probably until he's about 45 years old because he's a passer, he can rebound, he can do 100 different things. It's not all about explosions and, over-the-head alley-oop dunks. He's just a hell of a smart player, a talented player, and this is it. I think this is the best chance the Cleveland Cavaliers have ever had to win a championship because they're healthier now than they ever have been heading into everything. And, maybe a better chance than any of the other teams than the Indians and Browns that they've ever had to win a championship. So, yeah, I'm very much looking forward to it. And, Justin, if you want to join us for some Cavs shows, you're also more than welcome there, okay?
Sounds good. Thanks for having me, Brian. I've enjoyed it.
Sure thing. Well, hey, we'll gladly have you back on here again. Thank you very much for your time. Check him out on Twitter. He's at Justin Engelman, and he's also on Facebook under the same name. Justin, you have a great night, sir. And for everybody out there in the TNAM radio network, I just want to thank you for being a part of this program for so long. Coming up on 5 years. 5 años. 5 años. It's been 5 años. About 5 years on May Day. How cool is that? Subscribe, youtube.com/thenewamericanmedia. Check out thenewamericanmedia.com. And on the right-hand side are 3 things. It's our Facebook link, it's our Twitter feed, and it's also where you click TNAM Radio to listen to our program live. So for everybody out there in the TNAM Radio Network, I just want to say that I appreciate you, I love you. My name's Brian Engelman. Thank you for listening to the Unhappy Hour here at the New American Media, and we'll talk again soon. Go Tribe! Peace.
And this is John B. Wells reminding you that not only is Brian Engelman a cool guy, and not only is the newamericanmedia.com a very cool platform, but here's a cool idea for you, too. Are you alone? Not really. Do you like dogs? Do you like cats? You do. Of course you do. Everybody does. One or the other, maybe even both. You know, there are a lot of dogs and cats that are at shelters right now, and if somebody doesn't take them home, they're going to wind up euthanized. That's a nice way of saying they're going to be killed, because there's simply not enough room. I guarantee it, the best dogs and the best cats, the best pets come from shelters. There's something about dogs and cats, they know. They know where they are. You walk through one of them, and certainly at least one is going to look at you and go, I wish you'd take me home. I'm in hell. Please take me out of here. It'll be the best thing that you ever did for your soul. You'll feel good about it. And not only that, but you have a friend for life. Doesn't matter if you got money, you don't have money. Well, it doesn't make any difference to a dog or cat. All they need is the sound of your voice and maybe even the stroke of your hand, and they're fine. Maybe a little food every once in a while. The sweetest sound that those pets ever hear is your voice. Think it over and adopt a cat or a dog from a local shelter today. I'm telling you, you'll be glad you did.